You can't be good at everything. So that's okay. Don't be good at everything, but find someone who's good at the things you're not.
Nobody knows what it's like to be a hairstylist unless you're a hairstylist. Like, really, nobody understands it.
Hello, all you lovely hairstylists. Welcome to another episode of Successful Stylist Academy podcast. We are super excited to hang out with you today. I am here with Ambrosia Carey. We get to talk about, and today we get to talk about advice that you'd give your younger self. The list is long.
And ever growing, right?
Yes, constantly. Yeah. So we are going to jump right into this. But before we do that, I do want to invite you to join our wait list with Successful Stylist Academy. We have a launch that will be moving into November. I don't want to spend too much time on this, but if you are a new stylist, if you are building your book, if you're in a place maybe where you're just a little bit stagnant and you want to focus on some foundation, all of those goods are going to be applicable. So join the wait list, get some information, and we'll be sure and plug you into everything that you need to know. So without further ado, hello, Ambrosia. How is your day?
My day is going really well. And this is a topic that is near and dear to my heart. And I feel like it probably has to be broken up into several episodes because there's a lot to say about it. And it's really easy in hindsight to look back at our younger selves and just say, gosh, I wish I would have known this, that, and the other. But sometimes it takes the development to learn that. But I do think if we're going to pass on some knowledge to other people who are like newer, or that maybe you guys are fresh out of school, maybe you're still in school, this is something that I feel like is really important in those developmental days. One of the biggest things when I'm talking to a stylist who feels like they're stuck in a place that they don't want to be anymore, if we rewind the clock, we realize that they entered a salon that they thought was going to be one way, and then they found out it wasn't quite what they needed. So a lot of things that we're drawn to as a creative, and also as somebody who is in, I hate to say it, but we're in the beauty business. So it's like being in the beauty business, we're attracted to beautiful things. And so it's easy to look at a salon and just see it as like, oh, this is a gorgeous brand new salon. However, gorgeous salon, yes, that's great to look for, but what's inside of it and what's happening within the business and what can they contribute to you? Another thing is a new salon, you're kind of taking a gamble because they haven't quite established themselves yet. So one of the things that you would want to do is to interview with lots of salons before you make a decision with who you want to actually join hands with. And then the next thing I would say is you want to interview them. Like I think we put a lot of attention into like interviewing at a salon, but you should be interviewing the salon. Ask them what benefits they have. What are they offering you? Yeah. And just find out a little bit more. And then how do they treat each other? How do they treat you? Come in more than once. Like if you find a place that you really like, then go in a second time. It's kind of like a restaurant, right? Like sometimes you'll go to a restaurant one time, you're like, wow, that was amazing. And then you go back again and the service might be a little different. You'll give them a third chance. And then if it still is not on par, then you may decide like, that's okay. I went to that restaurant. It's time to go to other ones. Clients do the same with us too. So we want to make sure we're doing that vetting process in the very beginning, early on in our career, so that way we have a path to grow into.
I feel like everything's like has more clarity in hindsight, but to get ahead and create some time for reflection and everything that you're speaking on, I consider like foundational things. And what happens when you like have no foundation? You lose your footing. So I think that these are really, really important. On a very, very light note, to be real, if I had to tell my younger self advice, it'd be learn other languages and learn how to play an instrument, because you can carry those forever. Has nothing to do with hair or the hair industry, but those are definitely things that I would tell myself. It would keep me very entertaining as well, which our clients like. But to get back like on topic, I would say, I mean, we did a little bit of a live and we kind of proposed this question to you guys before we recorded today. And we had some really great interaction. But one of the things I shared was that you don't have to be the best at everything. You don't have to be good at everything is something I said I would tell myself. Ambrosia, you were like, I'm still telling myself that.
Gosh, it's so hard. I want to know everything and I want to do it all before I die. Like I want to know everything and I want to master it. And it's like, okay, that's actually, yeah, that's not real. You can't do that. It's not
No
possible.
pressure. No pressure.
I know.
Yeah, I mean, I'm the same. You guys, I grew up doing sports. I grew up with boys, and I am like, I'm a really good sport, but I am super competitive. And with that, I want to be like the MVP of everything. And I've been able to let go a lot of that the last couple of years because like people will be like, wow, how are you like less controlling and how do you let go of some of the perfectionism? Guess what? Like it's not a therapy session. I'm tired. Like I got tired. Like I got exhausted,
Yeah.
to where I had to be like, where is my energy best spent? How am I honoring like purpose? How am I serving other people? And how am I gaining fulfillment and growth? And that's what the question had to come down to for me to let go of trying to be good at everything and do everything. And I think this is such a huge one moving forward because like it's more valuable advice now because our industry has shifted in a way that we have so many facets in our job now that we never used to have. And we just get absorbed in the chaos and we get distracted and we put that pressure on ourselves. Really ask yourself those questions, like get out your journal, like write down the answers so that when you forget or when you're like, wow, why am I all over the place? Why is nothing getting finished? And it's like, oh, because I'm doing 12 things instead of 3 things, or I'm doing 5 things remotely well when I could be doing 2 things amazingly well. So I just, that's a big one for me.
Yeah, that is a good one too. And I actually think to myself, like, the journey of myself as a stylist when I first started versus the stylist I am today, because I still do hair behind the chair. I think I really focus heavily on the technical skill set in the very beginning. And I think that's important to focus on that because it's like getting those signature pieces dialed in is important. However, I do wish that I were to have learned different ways to communicate behind the chair in conjunction with that, or just like practicing that as well, because I think what I was doing is focusing so much on the technical part that I didn't get to know the client and then they weren't coming back to me. So my retention rate wasn't super high in the beginning. I had a lot of new clients coming in and it's really easy to build up a portfolio. That's called social media. So you can build up that portfolio. Yes, you can get new clients in your chair, but it's an endless bottom pit if you're constantly trying to get new clients in your chair and you can't keep them there. And I think the keeping them there part comes down to communication. So and it's also like you attracting the right people too. Because if you're communicating with somebody and you guys are just hitting it off and you're vibing and like you are really getting one another and you understand their style and they understand yours, all that, which is, by the way, it's just called branding. Like that is a really great way for you to market yourself into being a stronger stylist for the right people and they understand you. And so that is something that I wish that I were to have like practiced early on in my career, because I think I would have overcome the hardships of clients who made me feel not good about myself, or they wouldn't pre-book and I didn't know why, or I would see them in other people's chairs and I would kind of make it about myself and think like, oh, I'm doing something wrong. So it was easy for me to kind of do that instead of like today, I just know myself well enough. And it's easy for me to say that in hindsight because I look back at at myself as a service provider over these 20 years and I know I've developed these skills in that time. So I think it's a big bite to take if I were to say like you need to focus on both at the same time. But I do think it just with figuring out your signature pieces in the beginning, I think figuring out your signature consultation, your signature closure, just like really dialing those things in, almost like, we talk about having your policies. That would be part of your policies. Like make your conversation a script that is part of the procedure that you're doing, beginning, middle, and end within your service. And it makes you really focus on the craft because you did all that other work that feels uncomfortable in the beginning, and then it becomes more natural. So that's a big piece. I really feel like if I were to say number one, That might be it, actually. In the very beginning, I wish that that was something that I would have done in the beginning. And I feel like most people that I talk to that are newer stylists, or maybe they are like, you guys, I literally have talked to hairstylists before who have been doing hair for 10 plus years. And they say to me, I want to restart all my clients all over again. Like that's sad. Like, I mean, it's hard for them to say it, and it's sad to hear it because they realized the stuff that I just said. So yeah, that's my advice. Like, take that and run with it.
Saving you a lot of hardship here. No, these are like keys to success that are near and dear to my heart. I feel like as a public speaker and a growth mindset coach, some of the tangible ways that you can do this outside of the salon that will translate in the salon as well. If you can take like some type of like ad lib acting class, if you can make yourself read a monologue, it doesn't have to be yours, do a song, write a poem, read a poem at an open mic. If you can join any type of small group or club or something where you are having to be prompted and contribute something and then have conversations about it that are specific. I think these are really great ways to get out of your comfort zone and to develop some of those communication skills that then can transfer behind the chair, because the last thing that you want to do is have worked so hard at your technical skills and be an amazing, amazing hairstylist and then not really know how to communicate with your client. So
yeah, totally.
Yeah, huge, huge. So the next one for me, I think, would be mentorship and how important it is to find a mentor early on and to remember that as you move and grow and try different things, because you're not going to be the same person or the same stylist that you were in 7 years and in 10 years. Like, that's going to look different. And if we look the same as we did a decade ago, something has gone terribly wrong. So shift your mentor. Like, it just depends on like what your focus is, what season in your career that is. And this was something I was actually really good at, and it saved me. I mean, it saved me. It allowed me to progress at such a quicker rate than I would have been able to do on my own. I mean, some of mastery, the learning curve is your mentor. Like, you can move forward in mastery way more than you could with a mentor than without a mentor. So I feel like also know that mentorship, you going into it, is equally as valuable. So don't feel, I mean, it's hard not to, it's like you're kind of like asking someone on a date and you might get rejected, but, will you be my mentor? But also there's so much value in it for them. Like, I love having a mentor and I love mentoring because I learn and grow equally from that exchange on both ends. There's so much value because you are asking questions, you're having someone be vulnerable, you're having someone think about things, keep them from being stagnant. So know that when you're going into that, you bring things to the table as well. So be more confident in doing that when you do ask someone to mentor you.
Okay, I take it back. A mentorship is my number one now. That's so important, actually. I mean, and even today, guys, like I guess what I kind of like about podcasting is that you and I are almost like open mic mentoring one another, but we're also mentoring those of you who are listening. And I know we can't see you on the other end, but I really do have you in mind. Like, I picture you like while you're driving or while you're making dinner or while you're at the gym or in bed. Like, I think about you, and it's a great way for us to stay connected in the industry. And nobody knows what it's like to be a hairstylist unless you're a hairstylist. Like, really, nobody understands it. Just like when I tell Sonny, my husband, I'm just like, you have no idea what it's like to be a woman, because he asked me funny questions and I'm just like, oh my gosh, if you were a woman, you wouldn't have to ask this question. And even with me answering, you're still not going to understand it because you're never going to understand what it's like to be a woman. You'll never be a woman. Like, literally, that's how it is to be a hairstylist. People just don't get it. So mentorship, yes, absolutely. Not just in the beginning, but forever in your career. I have a mentor who's not even someone in our industry anymore. I need someone to stretch me in my business, and business and finance and well-being and my health. And that's something that I know I can hold myself accountable on specific days when I really put the effort in. but she keeps me on track with that. And so it's important to have those people in your life because they will let you see how there's limitless possibilities in your ability to grow. And that feels not stagnant. That lets you not be bored. That lets you continue to grow. That lets you hit your glass ceiling and keep growing beyond that glass ceiling. So, yes, absolutely. Mentorship, number one. Thank you for adding that in. I kind of want to just like wrap it up with one last thing. And this is going to be kind of a big, heavy one. And this is kind of what started out Successful Stylist Academy to begin with. So that's how much weight I'm putting on the shoulders of this topic. And if I were to break it into those two shoulders, one side would be branding and one side would be marketing. I want to get a little more specific with that. I want you to think of yourself as your future self, not just where you are today. Like, who do you want to be? And because we always have someone in our mind, whether it's a person, a description, like someone that we dreamt up or something, a vision that we had, a dream, whatever. Who is that person? And how can you be more like that person? That's really the branding side of it, right? And then the next part of it would be the marketing. Like if you were going to invite people over, if you had a party, let's say, and you invited someone very specific to be at that party that you know would be a really good fit for that party, who would those people be? And how would you reach them? Where would you find them? That's the marketing side. And that's the fun part. It should be fun. If it doesn't feel like fun, then that's because you're overwhelmed and you're overthinking it. And that's what we do as hairstylist artists. And most of us do have ADHD. And that's the reason why we do things really well. I was actually just describing this to my apprentice the other day because she was saying to me, yeah, I suffer from ADHD. And I started giggling in a really endearing way because I was just like, girlfriend, welcome to being a hairstylist. We all deal with this. And yes. The best part about having ADHD is that your eyes and your hands are forced to be in the same place at the same time. So it actually makes you really hyper-focus on something, which is what we have the hardest time with. And so that's the reason why this industry works so well for those of us who actually suffer from that. And I would say if you're going to hyper-focus on something, the marketing part of your business, if you feel overwhelmed by it, it's just because you need to go back just to that last point that we just made. You need to find a mentor to help you with that. That's what we do with Successful Stylist Academy. And then when you're ready for it, that's when you reach out to us because that's what we offer to you guys. Anyway, that was a little plug, but that's what we're here for. That's what lights me up. That's forever today. And this is like the last part of my personal career journey is I want to help you run a better business. I just hit a new milestone in my retirement plan and I feel really proud of it. And this is something that I want to help everyone else with too, is like the financial, business, branding, marketing, like getting more dialed into your future self. So that way you can actually maximize your potential. And that feels like a lot to say all at once, but it is possible. It's just having the right mentor to help guide you down that path.
Well, thanks. And congratulations on that milestone. And I mean, and you got to do the shameless plug because seriously, Ambrosia, you've mentored me like through marketing and social media and, you know, different finance things and questions that I need to ask myself. And we're not, like I said, you can't be good at everything. So that's okay. Don't be good at everything, but find someone who's good at the things you're not and allow them to help you and align yourself with them so that you don't have to be frustrated that you're working 72-hour weeks and you're not seeing like what that looks like or the return or a future plan on that, because that can be very, very frustrating. Yeah. So absolutely. I'm going to say my last one. I actually have several. So what I'm thinking is that we need a part two. In the beginning is that, what do you guys think? Like, we want to hear from you guys. So I think we need to do a part two because we want to honor like our short little micro sessions that we've been doing with you guys. So I'm going to end on this one, but I'm like, which one? Which one do I end with? Because I still have multiple points that I just like couldn't. I told you the list is long. So I am going to say it's okay to rest. Because I'm terrible at it and I'm getting better at it. So I'm applauding myself for the growth that I've made in that area because I'm always on to the next thing. I always have multiple things that I'm doing because I do get bored easy. I do have ADD. I love a lot of things. Don't need any more hobbies. Anytime people are like, do you want to do this? And I'm like, I don't need any more hobbies.
But sure, I'll see you on Sunday.
Yeah. But where do I get the gear?
Totally.
You don't know me. I feel attacked, Ambrosia. So it's okay to rest. And I think that sometimes we have to start out by like scheduling time to rest. Like today is literally a day where I am doing nothing, and nothing might look like watering my garden. Nothing might look like watching TV. Nothing might look like going for a walk, but ultimately I'm going to rest, or I'm not going to be on my phone at 11 trying to create a reel when my brain's not even working anymore, because it's not going to have as much impact. So just going into the like, yes, you can't pour from an empty cup. We're no good when we're exhausted. You can carry out some things in your 20s that, let me just tell you, deep into the midlife, you will not be able to pull off anymore. Like I'm starting to notice things like in my body that I was not taking care of, that I need to, and I'm aware of now. So those are things like body mechanics, being okay to rest, stretching, seeing the chiropractor, seeing a massage therapist, putting ice on things, like not wearing heels, like just different things. Like those are all within the kind of the rest and the health, and providing some self-care for you to be able to just like be quiet. I think one of the best ways for us to connect is to first disconnect so that we can reconnect in an impactful way, which means we have to allow ourselves time to rest.
So true. And can we have a moment of silence for all those heels that we wore back in the day that are now collecting dust in the closet?
May they rest in peace.
May they rest in peace.
We did go live, as I mentioned. And we did promise, because Ambrosia did talk about on our live. So if you want to go on the Successful Stylist Academy podcast page, you can see that. And she mentioned one thing that you can do for growth is to record yourself doing a technique, record yourself having a consultation, record yourself and watch it back. And kindly, gently, you can critique yourself so that you can grow and get better. So for public speaking, I do have like a critique yourself as a presenter that I'm just going to slightly tweak and make like, just critique yourself as a creative or as a stylist. And we're just going to put that in the download so that you have some questions that you can look at yourself and answer, and then make the adjustments that you need to make to be your future best self as you move forward.
Amen, Drea. Yes, you guys, we're going to put that in the show notes, and dream big, set goals, take action. We'll see you guys next week. Take care.